Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Dance of the Soul. And we are here every Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. And we're all, Regan and Forsten and I are here to help you get better situated in your life, dealing with what's in front of us. And we both love in doing that. And if you're ever in need of help, we are here to help you. So if you're watching this now or later, we love inputs, we love comments, and we're grateful that you can be here with us. And Regan Forsten is a great hypnotherapist. He is an amazing person who is helping so many get through post-traumatic stress syndrome, and a lot of different scenarios that are working through their life. And I am Natasha Venter, who is a medium, psychic medium, personal awareness life coach who loves to help people get through their situation. And we do it two different ways. He does it through hypnosis, and I do it through my mediumship, intuitive work. And I love to give people always say, for me, how did you put all that together? And I do. So with that, you're going to hear us both clearing our throats because obviously our throat chakras needed some upgrading.
Yeah, we're both getting over
stuff. So we're both clearing our throats. So we apologize so much. It's I know I'm basically healthy. It's just I've been going through some migraine / other body issues, and Regan's been going through the cold / whatever issues, and we both have been going through some stuff. So, and that's why we wanted to talk about today is when we get overloaded with life too much. And it's one of those things that as we go through life and managing our life and doing what we're doing, sometimes we ask the question, why now? Why is everything loading up on me now? I mean, I know that like I had a cousin who father passed, a dog passed, and I think another dog passed. And then, just everything happened at the same time. And I know for me, things like that have happened too. Last day of job, my cat died. Right now, going through the grief process, but yet not all the grief is happening at the same time, luckily. And I know that your family has gone through a lot at the same time too. And so as Regan wonderfully stopped on the side of the road to do the show at a golf course so he can wonderfully have fun playing golf before he does his work.
For a good start, yeah.
Yeah, his week worth of work. There we go. Get my tongue wrapped around what I want to say. That as you're going forward and that kind of stuff. But Regan, how are you doing?
Actually, I'm doing good. Still got a cough, getting over that cold or whatever it was that I had. It wasn't COVID. It tested negative on that. But, something was going around a few weeks ago. So, I feel fine, but just got that bit of a cough that's hanging on there. But, there's a great topic for today because I've got a few people. I'm on the edge now, feeling overloaded, but not quite there yet where I'm getting crazy about it, because that does come and go, that overloaded kind of thing. But I'm watching some of my really good friends right now go through it, and they have some really difficult things in their life, and it just seems like one thing after another keeps happening, and they go, how can I take any more? Excuse me. So we want people to chime in today about how they deal with it, because we all get through it, but it at the time when it's happening, it feels like it's never going to go away. It feels like we're just at the up to here with things. And, they say, why is God punishing me? Or why am I getting so much? What I found in my own experience looking back is that all those times when I did feel that way, when I moved further down the road a little bit and I realized I did handle it very well, that it was like having to study for your final exams, in college or something to get your something, and you're studying and you just feel you'll never get all the information, and you just feel so overloaded. And then you take the test and you do good on it and you're flunk and realize you have to start again. But, we do get through these things. But sometimes it seems that, things come in bunches, and I don't know. I think to me, a part of me would rather have it all come in bunches and just get it over with rather than to be just, a little bit all the time too busy. It's like just get it done and get through it and move on. But I think the biggest thing is there's always a huge learning experience through this whole process, especially when you get through it and you realize, wow, I was like a CEO of a company. I mean, things came at me right and left, and I was a little overwhelmed, but I figured it out. I went through the gauntlet of issues and problems, and I found answers and resources. And so I think, the biggest thing to learn that I've learned in my long life is that it's never more than we can handle in a way, because here I am still, right? Here you are still. Here are the other people still. It's just not fun sometimes when we have to like buckle down and go through about, 100 roadblocks to get where we're going or to figure things out.
Yeah, exactly. And Bev is saying hello, Bev.
Hey,
and
Bev.
I'm grateful that you're here watching again with us, and I'm so grateful for you. And that's the thing is that I know that, sometimes I find that, like for me, the year that my mom was diagnosed, or when my mom was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, and hi Veronica, doing this real quick.
Veronica again. Hi.
Yeah, hi. We appreciate you too so much. And that and you'll have to excuse our voices. We both are kind of navigating through, and I know that my throat chakra needed to be some upgrading, because actually that's where a lot of my headaches are coming from, is the backside of my chakra. So I'm been working on doing a lot of work there. So with that, like the year that my mom, was sick with Lou Gehrig's disease, that I had my second child, sold 2 houses, bought one. My husband started a new job, moved into this house, and then taking care of a newborn at the same time, navigating through all that. And then you add on with my husband being a profusely wonderfully alcoholic, so it was like, how much can I handle? But I think though that, like you're saying though, and this is one thing that I kind of learned through going through, because usually everything piles up, because I know if I have a quiet time, it's kind of like it's that the universe saying, here, rest up while you can, because you're going to get into something big. And so I've learned that if I have a quiet moment, it's my rest up before I can move on. That going through that year, if I would have just dealt with one thing, I think depression would have hit me harder, because of the fact that I had things I had to concentrate on. I had things that I had to step up and do. I had to get up and out of bed. If I just was dealing with my mom with Lou Gehrig's disease, I think that I would have, it would have been more graceful. I probably would have had not so many sleepless nights and stress. I wouldn't have been as stressed out. But at the same time, though, that going through that much in 1 year, and it was literally 1 year, that, I don't know if I would have done it a lot differently. I know I probably would have breathed a little bit more, but yet at the same time, though, the naiveness of going through something like that helps me stumble through it in a different way. And I think that if we can do the better we can, take a moment to breathe once in a while. I know for me, sometimes I took a moment before I got out of bed, and even today when I have a lot of things going on, and those tools that I learned back then helped me today.
Yeah.
Well, just go ahead.
Well, we talk about everything, from a spiritual base, but here in this physical world, there's certain, techniques and things that we've all learned down here that help people to get through these times when they feel they're overwhelmed. And when we're each of us doing life coaching, just even if we're not talking about visiting heaven and back, or you talking to people on the other side and everything, people just want to know how to get through the day here first before they do any of that. Well, there's just common sense things. The thing that's helped me, and that someone taught me years ago, that's helped me get through things when I'm overwhelmed. First is to, breathe. Take a breath, drink some water, get a notepad out in front of you. Kind of get out what's muddling in your head. Sometimes it's just there's so much going on that your mind is just flip flopping all over the place, and it just wears you out. So the first thing to do is get it down on paper. And so you just have a notepad in front of you, and you go, okay, here's the things I need to do. This is the first thing here. Now, how many things under that category do I have to do? Oh boy, I got to call the county to do this, and then I got to call the insurance company to do this, and boom, boom, boom. And you just write those down. You get it all out of your head first. You just get it right in front of you. Then you can kind of look and see, this is the actual situation, not what's going on in my head where I can't even see the situation.
Exactly.
And then you just prioritize. You just go, okay, all the things on here, you ask yourself, what's the number one important thing I have to do? What's the second most important thing? Then you just put them down like this. And then when you look at the page, it could be still overwhelming when you look at all you have to do. So then you just forget about the page and just zero in on the very first thing.
Yep.
And then just say, look, I'm not even going to worry about any of this other stuff. I'm just going to take care of number one first, and then I'll look to see what's number two. And for me, that really helps me, because then I've told myself I'm concentrating on one issue. We all can do that. If we have to call the county and go through, 5 different departments till we get to where we have to go, it's not fun. But if we only do that, we can do that. And then it makes it doable that way, because you're more organized and you're not just all over the place, with feeling the pressure.
Exactly. Well, I know for me, that's what I did is that when I was that year, well, actually it was the year, 2 years later, when my uncle had Lou Gehrig's disease, that, and I still had I had now a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, and trying to navigate those waters. And he lived over 2 hours away, that, I had a notepad, and I would write down things like what was my thing, and then there's a line in the paper, and so then I would write down what the answer was. Because I was still stressed out and stressed out, still kind of feel like didn't catch my footing. I'm going to use that word better. From the years before, because my life had been so, dad passing, mom getting sick, and then my uncle getting sick, that with doing that I was able to negotiate going back and getting the realistic answers instead of what was in my head, because my head didn't remember things very well when I was going through everything. So what I did was I wrote down what the answer was, or, oh, this call made me call to this call made me go to this call, or this call made me go to that call. So I'd kind of draw a line, so I knew at least where the dot to dot was. So people would say, well, how did you hear from me? Oh, I'd go back
That's
up.
Smart. That's a good idea.
And so, and it was, the old spiral notebooks that, you can flip this way, those green ones that were just handy, and, doing those kinds of things, because I know for us, a lot of times when we're overwhelmed, we do not sleep well. And so put a notepad by your bed, and I can tell you that I had a page open, and I would write, and I would look at it in the morning going, well, I don't really know what that says. But yet at the same time, I knew enough of what it said that it triggered what I needed to do for the next day, and then I'd rewrite what I remembered. And there's times like that when we're going through situations, and I want to go back to, there's always a reason why we're doing it, and it's kind of like our muscles. The more that we use them and get better at it, the more that when we go through the next thing, we kind of go, like for me, that was 20 some odd years ago. And now, like for me, the other day, I had such a migraine that I couldn't stand up very well. And I slept, I think, about 20 hours in a 12-hour period. It was one of those days. but the smoke detector battery went dead. And it was right over my head and it was beeping. And you know, when you have a migraine and
Yeah, a little
any
beep. Oh,
extra noise. And so, but the thing is though, because I've been in so many other scenarios and big situations, that I sat there for a second and go, smoke detector, I have a choice. Do I feed into it? Do I let it feed into me? Or do I just make a decision? And I decided to go lay in my car until after my husband came home from work because I could not get up to get it. I was so dizzy and,
yeah,
out of it that there was no way I was going to climb up on top of the counter. So it was one of those things that, these tools that we learn along the way help us when we get into those kind of emergent times where we have to think about things.
yeah.
You know, it's
I
it's one of
always
those
like to
things.
mention too, the best tool that it seems that we have so far on this planet for reducing our stress level is emotional freedom technique, or EFT. Some people will call it tapping.
Mhm.
And that works wonderful for, just say, if you're an 8 or a 10 on the scale of like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And there's these different points that you tap. And there's about 100 videos online that teach this. They're teaching this to school children. And there's just a few of these different points on your body, and you're talking about, like, this is an example. You say, oh my gosh, I'm so overstressed today. I can't do this. Even though I feel I can't do everything I have to do today, I love and accept myself. I love and accept myself, even though and you can use a proper cuss word in there, even though I'm friggin' can't do this today. I don't
Mhm.
want to do this, even though I don't want to do this today. I love and accept myself. You go through these different points like this. And as we mentioned many times on the show, when Harvard Medical School studied it, they watched people's amygdala when they had them hooked up machines calm down. They test their cortisol level, their stress level went down just by doing this tapping. It's just, and I've used this now for 13 years, and I have seen miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle, and so have all the other EFTers. It's just a good way to get
Mhm.
you through the day when you're really, really stressed. But the other thing, Natasha, that I think we both agree on too is, let's say if you've got this whole list of stuff, well, start taking care of number one, but look at it as like a work day. In the work day, you don't work all the way through without taking a break, having lunch break or whatever. Take a short meditation break, just to calm yourself,
Mhm.
or just put on some soft music and lay back somewhere, even if it's for 10 minutes. It can make a world of difference because you're going to reduce your anxiety as you meditate a little bit. And then you can go back with more energy and a more clear head and delve into it. The Insight Timer is a good app. We recommended it before in here. It's called Insight Timer. It's a free download, and there's about 1,000 things on that Insight Timer, on that meditation app you can do. You'll say, like, how much time do you have to meditate? And you say, well, 10 minutes. And then up pops all the things that are 10 minutes long, whether you do a guided meditation or just listen to some beautiful music to calm you for 10 minutes or longer if you can. So, be sure and take breaks when you have all this stress.
Mhm.
It keeps you from going down the rabbit hole further into, depression. So, tapping works. The Insight Timer works. Drink a lot of water. Uh, you know, like, I
Yeah.
wonder what. Okay, there's Carolyn. Hi,
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Yeah. Hello, Carolyn. I'm sorry you have to go. It seems like you always do, but we love you.
Okay.
She's
Yeah,
been a long
yeah,
time
just
client of mine too. Yeah, it's one of those things, and that's one thing that I want people to remember. And you were mentioning the water. You're mentioning that when we are going through stressful moments, our B vitamins are it's huge. It's huge helping our B vitamins. Um it's amazing when we take care of ourselves, our B's and our D's, and those nutrients like that. Because we when we get stressed out, we fall into bad eating habits,
oh yeah,
and it's that's what actually hurts us more. I think is that we're not taking care of ourselves as well as what we could.
yeah,
And It is stressful, but I know I love the idea of taking a moment, because I know for me that there's a lot of times where, like, today, I got out of work and I've been running and kind of doing my thing. So I sat in the car at the grocery store for a few minutes today, and just sitting there for a few minutes. I told myself it was a collection time. Picked up myself through the day, and let myself catch up with myself. What was so funny was is the guy opened up my car door because he thought my car was his. Scared the
Oh,
bejeezy out of him and me too, because it was like, who's opening up my car door, type of thing. But what was funny was, because I've been through stressful moments, that I had that moment of looking at what was really happening before I really freaked out, type of, who's opening up my car door, type of feeling. But it was you should the look on his face. I think he jumped back about 5 feet because he was just like,
that's
whoo.
scary. Yeah. I was 22. It's funny that, see, you opened up a little file in my memory. I remember when I was in my early 20s and my wife and I were at the drive-in, and I was so engrossed in the movie, went back to get popcorn and stuff. And I got back to the car, and all of a sudden I realized she wasn't there. So I thought, well, maybe she went to the restroom. And then I hear some kind of moaning in the back seat. And I realized, I said, that doesn't sound like my wife. And I realized I was in the wrong car. And so I was sitting
In
there.
the wrong car.
They were in the back. Whatever this other couple was in the back having sex, and I sat in the front. And oh my God, I could, this fear that came over me, and I just thought, oh my God. So I just opened the door very easily and eased my way. They were so into it, I guess they never realized, but that was one of my my most embarrassing moments. So,
Oh
but
my. Oh my.
that's what happens when you just you don't pay attention. You're not at that age. I was very unmindful. I'm just looking at the movie screen still as I'm going back, because I was the one that, she wants some popcorn, so they didn't put it's not like nowadays we can put something on pause and say, well, just
Yeah.
put this on pause, I'm going to go back. So I went in there and I'm coming back, and it's a good part of the movie, and darned if I didn't get in the wrong car. So that's kind of
Oh,
goofy.
that is so funny. And then they had to been making sex or having sex, right? Oh,
Yeah,
that is so
but that
funny.
is scary. Someone opens your car door, your mind goes through all these
Mhm.
different crazy scenarios, or it's just so much shocking you don't know what's
Yeah,
going on, that
exactly,
way.
exactly. Because his car did not look, well, his car was almost the same color, but didn't look anything like mine. So he just wasn't paying attention, I guess. And, like you were saying, you just kind of get going in life. And that's the thing that we start when we're getting into a lot of things going on, and we get multitasking like that. That just kind of shows how much we do not pay attention to what's in front of us.
Yeah. Well,
And
we walk around in a state of hypnosis. People, sometimes people's problems have them so much, they're just so all over the place that when I see them for normal stuff, I have to unhypnotize them before I start the session, because they're just in this other realm. They're not paying attention to anything, because all hypnosis is being so singularly focused on one thing that you forget everything else around you. And some
mhm.
people are that way on their problems. So, it's funny that you have to go to hypnosis to get unhypnotized and start from scratch. So,
Yeah, and that's why it's good to, like, for me the other day I was my mind was like wandering, and I was doing something, and I just told myself, here now, be here now. This is what
yeah,
I'm doing right now. What am I doing right now? I am da 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 da. What am I doing right now? I am right here doing da 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 da. And then my mind started wanting to want, nope, I'm right here. What am I doing right now? And I would repeat back what I was doing so that I could get into the now, because of the fact that when we are so preoccupied, that's the time we lose our keys. That's the time when we spend more money than we want to. That's when
yeah,
because we kind of get into this, we just roll along in life. And that's not a healthy place to be. And I can tell you that when I was in those moments, that's one thing that I learned. So now when I've gone through these other times when I've been a little bit more busy, it doesn't seem as busy because of the fact that I chunk it down into moments of, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at,
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing. And it really helps me to negotiate it.
Now, here's also this is a hypnosis trick to the mind. Your mind knows what words mean. You know, that knows what words mean. So there's a way that to the subconscious, because the subconscious doesn't really perceive reality like it is. It's kind of perceives it and how it's been programmed. That's why you're in a movie theater and you get invested in a character and they get killed or something, you start crying. Well, the subconscious was just fooled that someone that you actually cared about died, but they didn't. They're just acting on the screen, but still you get all emotional and everything. Well, the same thing with words. So what I have my clients do, just a little thing when they're feeling stressed, is when they're sitting down, just take a deep breath and just repeat. They just say, I'm so calm and relaxed. I'm so calm and relaxed, but I'm so focused at the same time, something like that. And when you put emphasis on the word, I'm calm and relaxed, the subconscious is hearing that. It's going, oh, calm. I know what that means. And it starts calming your body down. I do that. I have 2 pro golfers that are my clients. Well, they're hope to go pro. And one of them's on a minor tour right now. And they take me out golfing and, and I trade sessions with them when I'm in LA. And one of them, he's really good. He knows what he's doing and he can really be good, but his mind gets in, he just gets tight. His body gets tight because he's nervous of what he's thinking about. Oh, I could mess up the shot. So what I have him do is he creates an anchor with his finger here and there. When he's in hypnosis, I have him do this. And when he does this is a signal for calm and relaxed. So just as he's walking up to hit, he's got the club in one hand, he does this, and he's saying to himself, calm and relaxed, but so focused and alert. And then he can just feel himself just kind of drop down a little bit into being calm.
Into himself. Probably
Yeah.
drops down further into himself instead up into his mind. He drops down into himself.
Yeah. So if people out there who are watching this, if you just sit back for a minute and go calm and relaxed and just allow your shoulders to droop a little bit, and you'll just feel yourself begin to get calm. So even though you're stressed and everything, you take a minute and you just go calm and relaxed and totally alert. Oh, it feels so good, and then you go, okay, put me to the next person, I think that drives people. That's one of the things nowadays, everybody's got this pet peeve on is you just want to talk to a person you can tell your issue to that can solve it. But sometimes you got to go through this place and then they send you to there and you get to another place and you think you have it and they go, oh, I'm sorry, they sent you to the wrong thing. And you got, and everybody just wants someone to hear them, to their problem.
Yep.
So you just take a moment and you go, even though I feel like strangling the next person on the phone that's going to put me through to something else, and that's when you're tapping, even though I'm about to lose it on the phone with this person right now, I just want to just smack them upside the head. I love and accept myself, and that's what tapping is you vomit out what you're really feeling. Sometimes you're just feeling that, but you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to be rude to somebody, but you just acknowledge your feelings and you say, even though in my feelings, I just want to scream at this person. I love and accept myself. I'm a good person. I would never do that, but I sure as heck feel like it right now, but it's okay. And it just lets your feeling out, lets that frustration out as you're tapping these different acupuncture points on your body and you just calm down. It's a neat feeling. You can just, when I have people close their eyes and I say, okay, think of your issue on a scale of 1 to 10, watch a little needle coming from 0 and going to 10. Where are you? And then they go, I'm at an 8 or a 9. I go, wow. We'll do the tapping for a little bit, have them check in again. And it's like down to a 6 or down to a 5 or 4 or 0. So you can actually see just how it works, by doing that too. So that's good. See, I'm coming up now, Natasha. This might be my busiest time in LA. I'm driving down from San Francisco to LA to see clients that want to go through the life between life process where I put them in a deep state of trance, or I help assist them getting themselves into a really deep state of trance. And the majority of them can go from there to the past life, and then there to where you go between lives, spend a couple hours in heaven and come back. It's like 4 or 5 hour process. And I have seven sessions booked in 10 days. And these sessions are 4, 5, 6, 7 hours long. Sometimes takes a ton of energy. And that's the most I've done at one time. But again, I figured, okay, when I've seen how these people have come to me, and just when I decided to come down here, and all of a sudden people are calling out of the blue and want sessions, and I figured, okay, I can do this, So when we talk next week, I'll tell you how I'm doing, Natasha, because it's going to be, I just have to pace myself, because I try to be totally present with everybody, and I don't want to ever get to the point where I'm so busy that I'm looking at my watch going, oh, only 3 hours to go, only 2 hours to go, only 1 hour to go. I would hate the guides on the other side. They'd be up there going, come on, Regan, put yourself in, you can put yourself into this,
Yep. Well, but like there was something that I told you last night too, that my universe told you to do is that you set it up ahead of time. You tell the team, you tell the guides that, hey, I am going to be busy in the next 10 days here. Can you help me be more efficient,
stay focused, right?
With my sessions? And then I just heard you say, I like to be hyper focused. Well, you can be hyper focused, but you can also ask your team, your guides and angels, to give
thank you for reminding me again, Natasha. It's so important.
Give you the energy to be more focused. Instead of you using your battery, you have them give you the battery to help you through the longevity.
We're just closing my. So people see she's teaching me here. This is so great. Thanks, Natasha. So I'm just focusing right now. I'm picturing all these people lined up out my door, and I've got this. My energy's all filled up. Like I just plugged in, to USB, and I'm all up, And so I'm just picturing the guides around me like a team, and they've got all their energy too. And I'm just saying, hey, when I need your energy, just allow me to focus on
I would start from the beginning.
To not get sidetracked.
Yeah.
And not to go doing a lot of things that don't take away my energy. Like for instance, some clients, they want to go on and on about some things that really aren't helping the session at all. So I need to know to rope them back in so we can get the work done and get it done. And so that it doesn't, to keep my energy up. So I just need to get enough sleep and hydrate myself and eat right. And then
that's another thing I told you. And that's the thing that I do. Like when I'm in an all-day fair, I start at the beginning. Okay, guys, it's going to be a long day. Make sure that I have the energy for the day, please. And make sure I get home safe. So that it starts from day one. And people, if Carolyn was still here, she's seen me at fairs, she'd be a testament to how my energy keeps going through the day. I even did that today because I know that I was still recouping today. And you can see how much energy I have. This is the best I felt for the last, since Wednesday afternoon, pretty much, is that, and what I did was I knew my body was struggling, so I asked them to give me some energy. And it's amazing when we are ready to receive that. It helps us to go through what we're going through. We don't have to walk it alone.
Yeah.
Just because we're human doesn't mean we go through life alone.
Yeah. And Natasha and I aren't just making this stuff up about guides and things, because Natasha just checks in with them and they can be right there. But in the Newton Institute research, we've had about 70,000 people now do this process. Every one of them, that goes to a past life, at the end, there's a guide or an angel or someone that's there. It's just the protocol. And then they find out that they actually have a personal guide or an angel. So all of you out there that have never believed that or contacted them, there's just all the research is pointing to that it's correct that you do have a guide or somebody that's kind of assigned to you, that's watching over you. And they want to help you, but they're waiting for you to wake up enough to acknowledge that you believe in them. That's part of the process, I think, because they're, like we talked about a few weeks ago, there's a lot of angels up there just kind of, oh, come on, I'm just waiting for you to know that I'm here. I want to help you, but you're so closed-minded. And, a lot of unemployed angels that need to get put to work. So if you're just watching this, even if you think it's silly right now where you're at, just kind of, I mean, look up in a sense, or I guess we look up because we think of them there, but they could be anywhere. But look up and just say, okay, I think I'm starting to believe this stuff. I mean, okay, I just want your help today. So just something, just to acknowledge them, and then start watching how your life shifts and becomes more like more synchronicity, I would say, in your life, and help with problems and stuff. So, and the more you wake up, the more open the door gets, and the more they're able to help, and the more you're able to feel their guidance. Like Natasha, I just envy you sometimes, because it's just like, it's like, to me they're real, but it's like I feel like I have to drive 50 miles to see them. Where they're in the car with you.
Yeah, well, that they are with you too. I mean, it's obvious that they're in the car with you, because the way that you get assistance all the time when you need assistance, that it just rolls.
I do find that, because when I'm in session with people sometimes, and I'm just so focused on where they're at in heaven, and we're talking back and forth with their guides on that, it's just as if some questions come right into my mind from somewhere that I'm able to ask, and that helps with the session. And afterwards I go, wow, that was really deep, Regan. Like, where'd you get that from? And I go, I guess it's got to be from the help I'm getting,
Exactly, because you are very connected. It's this that has practiced not to believe in it.
Yeah. And I tell that story sometimes. So my first session I did was a medium from Australia, and he was just, I had my book of instructions about this thick from the Newton Institute, and I'm going through the process trying to do it right. And he's like 10 pages ahead of me. He'll say, Regan, I'm already in a past life. And I go, oh, okay. And I have the page way forward to where he was at, and his guides were right there. It just showed me how easy this can be, and how connected, just like you, Natasha, you're just, he was just connected that way. It was very easy. But at one point, my client says, Regan, his guide's name was Merlin. He calls him Merlin. He said, Merlin wants to talk to you. And all of a sudden, this is my first session. All of a sudden, here's a guy on the other side wanting to talk through him to me. And, and Merlin I said, well, what's he want to tell me? And I'm thinking it's going to be some profound thing or something like this. He says, calm down, Regan. He said, because my foot was going 100 miles. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so easy. This guy's in the afterlife, went to the past life. Now she's with his guide. And here I'm paging through the book trying to catch up where they're at, And Merlin just says, calm down, Regan. And it made me laugh, and it made my client laugh, and Merlin was laughing, I guess, on the other side. And then I was able to calm down and just kind of really enjoy the rest of the process, with my with my client. So it's something.
But that's the thing, though, is that people think that that the universe, I call it the universe of love, and that's angels, guides, fae, whoever wants to help, dragons, it doesn't matter who it is, but it's of love, that it's big. They think that these things are going to be huge, but I can tell you, a lot of times it's not huge. It's a simple message of calm down.
Yeah.
Or the message of it could have been, and in a way I kind of got this message when the guy opened up my car door. I got that I've been trusting I've been trusting in vulnerability too much. Sitting in a parking lot with my door unlocked, not that I should be in fear. But at the same time, though, how much was I distracted? Because I was playing a game on my phone, just because I was, gathering myself, that I was not aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
And not where I live, but that was an interesting spot of pre-teller. That was probably I know it was the universe's love saying to me, Natasha, remember that when you are in a vulnerable state, you need to have awareness, not be in fear, but
right.
Have awareness. And that's the thing is if we trust, and we're in the midst of big stuff, and we're doing things like that when we ask for help, the universe is going to say little things like that. to
Yeah.
us, you know,
Well,
or like if we put down our keys somewhere and it's like, and we can't find them when we want to leave again, and the universe kind of says, hey, I moved them a little bit for you, because of the fact that you're not slowing down to pay attention to your steps.
yeah.
And when we pay attention to our steps, then we can get better results from our life. And that's especially when we're rolling. And it's hard sometimes not to roll from one thing to another. I have a girlfriend who, has a lot of responsibilities at work, and she's rolling and she's rolling and she's rolling. But I can tell you, she is one that likes to dot her I's and cross her T's, and she purposely makes sure she does, because of the fact that she knows that there's logistics that if she doesn't do that, she can get into bigger trouble.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, all this, every time we start talking about things, it segues into all these different things that we never even thought of. But
I
I was
know.
thinking, one thing that helped me today, I was just noticing too, um, in the different vans I've had, and in Patty's car even, for me to buckle the seatbelt, I always had this negative attitude. Not that I don't want the seatbelt fastened, but it's a hassle to have to get it where it's at. It's just like, you just want it to be easy, but it's a hassle where you have to reach back. It's a little harder. You got to pull it out. Sometimes you got to do it twice or whatever. And so I found myself getting kind of negative, even though I do it and I buckle it, but I go through a negative thing in my body, like, So what I started doing the other day is I'm reaching for it and struggling for it and doing that, is I changed my perspective. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I do this all the time to protect my physical body so that I can be here to do my mission, of what I love to do. It's just funny, but it was just that. And so every time as I reach back now, instead of going, oh, why is that so hard to do? Well, I hate doing this. I say, I'm gladly doing this because I want to protect my body so that I can accomplish my mission, which I love. And it was a little shift, but then I started realizing I'm reaching for it. Now I don't have that immediate,
Mm-hmm.
instead it's like, wow, I'm doing a nice thing here, protect my body, So it's like with you, they're probably saying, well, you're there, you're vulnerable. Just don't be in fear, but lock your door, because there's some negative people out there too. And
Mm-hmm.
why go there, you know?
And this is where we can kind of maybe segue into 444. If we can segue into the knowing of that when we are in stressful moments, language is huge to ourselves. I love the way that Oprah Winfrey said it one time on our show, and she said that there's a lot of times when my day goes on and on and on, and I was tired, and I would say, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. And then she started saying to herself, I'm ready for my next moment of energy. My next
Yeah.
energy is coming right around the corner. I'm ready to get moving again. And you know, there's something about language that way that, and I know that I
Yeah.
use language all the time. So it's not like I'm going duh right now, but at the same time, having the application of that. So, like, even with me being in my migraine, even though I wanted to keep saying, "Oh God, it hurts," and I was groaning. I mean, because that was all I could. My
Yeah.
husband says he hasn't heard me groan that much. Well, it was a really bad one, but at the same time, I kept saying to myself, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. This is releasing. I'm getting better. I'm finding out why. I'm finding out the whys. And so with that even though I was still in the thick of it, I find that having language does help us to, maybe not in the moment, but it helps us process through it in a different way. And
Yeah.
then it's the ender result, not the end result, but the ender, getting towards the end, that it does help us maneuver into the next transition of what we need to do. And
Yeah.
language is huge, especially when we use the I am. I am tired, or I am ready for next energy. What is
I
the
like that.
difference in,
That's a good.
and especially like with you doing the 4 or 5 hour sessions, that you can say, I'm ready for the next energy
I'm
field.
ready for the next energy. See, now I've
Yeah.
got two things to do.
You popped out for a second. There you go. Oh, still muted. Nope, you're still muted. Can't hear you. There's a connection. I think there's a connection. Something is off on your connection. So I don't know. But that's the thing is that like Regan was saying, there you are, you're back again. Bunch of crunching.
Oh, it's yeah, it's just can you hear me, or is it breaking up?
It broke up for a minute. Now it's saying something. Oh.
All right, sorry.
I think it's all our own all our connection here. Mute it again and then try again.
Okay.
So with this, as we're going at the beginning of our show, it was our voices that were all crackling. Now it's our technique. There's something about us speaking today. This is kind of funny. Life is interesting, and then we do it, and this is one of those things. So we're all kind of in the moment, but you're pretty crackly there, Regan, and
Yeah.
it's not there when you're muted. So going
Okay,
forward.
wait a second. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'll hang on a second. I think
as we're working through this, I want everybody to know that no matter where we're at and what we're doing, that life is purposeful in its movements. And if we can sit there and go, okay, there's something about this that's supposed to teach me something. Where am I supposed to learn from this? And if we can take moments and breathe and look at it and see that sometimes just that moment of breath is what they're trying to show us. We're all getting overwhelmed. We're all struggling. We're all doing things that are huge in our lives. And we're all kind of cooked and done.
that's awful.
We're all cooked and done. And, being cooked and done, sorry about this with Regan here, being cooked and done, this COVID situation really cooked us all. And now we have to do more. And luckily, some of us had kept working, or we got retired at the right time. And so with that, life happens. And, it's weird how, going through life, why does it have to happen this way? Well, no human really can answer that. But perspectives and understandings and knowing that we're not walking through this as a punishment. That's the thing is a lot of us think that it's a self-punishment that we're going through this. No. No, 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 no. It's not a self-punishment. Like for me, having kids at the same time my parents were passing. As I could have taken the perspective of that being a punishment. I actually took it as the universe knew that I would struggle taking care of my parents, and I needed something to bring light into the darkness. And, that's where the universe showed me that there is light in darkness. And, there's purposefulness in everything we do. So believing in that, believing that you're not alone, that you are loved, and why? Because we're human. We're having a human experience. Well, why? Because we need to learn to work with emotions, and and it's part of if we don't work through the emotions, we don't learn the experience of life down here. Life happens for a reason. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you, the one that's in charge of it all knows the bigger picture. But other than that, sometimes we don't know until months, years later why things happen. So believing in yourself that this is not a punishment when we are going through life and happening. Knowing that, My love goes to everybody who's going through a lot right now. I know that several of you who are watching today, you're going through a lot and or are coming up on something that's going to be a lot. And it's not necessarily something that we can all navigate through, you know. But believe me that there's a part of you that knows what to do. That's one thing that I learned. That there is a part of me that knows what to do. That there's sometimes in life when we're going through something and then we look back going, hell, how did I get through that? Well, because there's a part of us that knows what to do. And if we trust that and believe in that, we usually get somewhere. Well, welcome back, Regan.
All right, now we're good.
Yeah, it's actually sounding better than it did before.
Yeah.
So with I was just saying about how, that there is a reason for it, but please don't take it as a self-punishment that things are happening.
Yeah,
That
when people are when I have people on the other side and you're in heaven and they're asking why their life's so difficult, they get an overview and they actually get to see that they chose their life to be difficult. In other words, because they want, it's just like somebody who's finished regular college and they decide, you know what, I want to get my graduate degree or I want to get my doctorate, and then, because wow, then I can really get better pay and prestige and all this kind of stuff. And it's, a couple more years of school and everything.
Mhm.
And then, they're all excited, but then they get into school and they find out how hard it is. And they're thinking like, why, oh, was I stupid for doing this? This is just too difficult. It's the same scenario. You get the other side and you realize you signed up for grad school, because you wanted to get the benefits of that, which is to be more loving and kind and spiritual and to have more of the bigger picture of God and everything, So
Mhm.
when people find that out, then they kind of stop kind of bitching about it, kind of complaining. They just like, okay, I got to do this. It takes the sting. When you find the why to things, like why you're going through something, makes it a lot easier. And if you know it's for growth and for something that you, as in your higher self, knew that you wanted, you can't complain. You have to just do it and do it with a happy attitude.
Exactly. And most, I could say a lot of the themes that I learned through my trials is that I was not alone. That I was not alone. And it came in different aspects. Like for me, my cat, my familiar, my last familiar here, passing away at the same day my job ended. And, I felt alone because Maya was she comforted me. And yet when my dog, she wanted to pass away on my dog's bed on the back porch, and that's where she ended up dying. And my dog went out with me and was sitting with me, and she smelled her, and then all of a sudden Cleo got in my lap and leaned up against me and went like this, like, I'm sorry, mom, and it was like, I'm not alone. She's grieving too, and she was still young. She was only about a year old. But, at the same time, though, she had that much knowledge of what was happening. And going through what I went through with my mom, I knew I wasn't alone. Going through what I went through with my husband, I knew I wasn't alone, that I had something out there that was guiding us through these moments to learn something that was greater for our
Yeah.
our greater growth. And I can tell you that I would say 99% of what I've learned in my life, I use in my day-to-day walk of how I interact with others, how I work with my sessions, the tools to support myself to get through. And that's one thing that I hope everybody learns, is that, don't take it as a punishment. Learning it, take it as a learning tool. How
Yeah.
can I learn from this?
I golfed with a guy a couple of weeks ago. I was playing by myself. It was late at night, and then a guy just happened to come over and says, "Hey, can I play last few holes with you?" And I said, "Sure." Even though I was kind of wanting to just be by myself, because then I can hit extra balls and all that. But then we start talking and we get done with those few holes. And I said, hey, you want to play some more? Because we were having such a great conversation. He said, okay. So we played another 5 or 6 holes. And then you could see he felt it and I felt it, why we had got together, and because he was, and his story was, when he was a teenager, he had a best friend of 5 years and they were riding their bikes. So the friend ran ahead of him, racing somewhere, went down this hill, hit a barrier and fell. So he ran down there to him and he was holding him in his lap when his soul left the body and his friend died, and that just,
Wow.
He's 60. No, he's 62 now, but that happened when he was a teenager. Well, so further on in his life, when his mom was ill and somebody else, he purposely waited until they passed away to go to them because he didn't want to be in that position again of being with somebody when their soul left their body that way. And so what I told him was, and it gave him an aha moment, is I said, well, look at your friend that when this happened, he could have been with his mom or dad or other friends or something, but he chose you to be the one that's holding him when he passes on. I said, no, that's a privilege, more than an awful thing. I said, maybe in past lives or something, you guys were really close. And when he passed away, just wanted you to be there with him. And he went, well, I never thought of it that way, But then he started thinking, wow, that maybe there's a reason that we got together today, Regan. So, it's that perspective. I mean, when you think about it, when you're there with someone who passes on, that's like being at somebody's birth, and how beautiful that is. And when they pass, it's the same beautiful thing. It's just their time to go, time for them to leave, and you get to be witness to that miracle. So, it's how you look at things. Is it a curse or is it a blessing? And sometimes it's the same thing, but when you look at it as a blessing and can see that, it changes the whole scenario.
Yeah, true. It is, and yet, if we struggle to be there and we're not, no, it's okay too, because there's some, like my mom, I couldn't be there. My dad, I was. My uncle, he didn't want me there. So it's like, it's a beautiful, like I like Veronica, you said it's a beautiful thing. It is a very beautiful thing to be there when someone is passing. And yet not every, it is still sad. And it is sometimes not pretty in the physical part of it, but yet it's a beautiful moment. The thing is, though, not every soul wants somebody around when they pass.
Right.
And so we gotta, it's a fine line with that, but it is a beautiful moment when we are honored to be recipient of that. Because I know for my dad, he waited for me to come into the hospital room and he passed.
Yeah.
And so with that where my mom, I was sitting right there and she wouldn't. I went and walked around like backyard and she passed. So it's always, there's always a thing, but there again, when we're having a lot to do and a lot going on, take care of you. If anything. And that's one thing that you can learn from today is if you're going through a lot, take care of you. Eat better, make sure you drink, make sure you eat the righter things, the proteins, and because a lot of us go back to sugars and sugars burn us out quickly.
Yeah. And journaling. So the thing that's hard though, is when you're going through that, it's like you just don't feel like you have the energy to even lift a pen, or you don't, you should do this tapping, but you can't get your hand to go up to here because you're just really depleted. And I don't know what to do about that, except you just have to maybe the best thing you can do is to close your eyes and like I tell people sometimes, you can close your eyes and just tap inwardly, like you could close your eyes and just picture your fingers tapping these different points, and you could be talking inwardly. It doesn't have to be outwardly. At least that's something, a lot of times when I'm teaching people how to tap, I teach their significant other how to tap too. And when they both know how to do it, when one of them is going through a bad time, they can sit down and just go, honey, would you do the tapping for me? I'm just, And it's a beautiful thing because you can go up with that person you love, and you can just do the tap, and be like the facilitator for them, because
Exactly.
sometimes, I just know that feeling when you're so depleted that even though you know what you should do, you know, uh, it's
Exactly. It's
hard to
one of
do
those
it.
things. I know that, for me, like last night, I was kind of cooked and done in a way. And poor Regan, I call him up and say, "What are we going to talk about today?"
Yeah,
And after I talked to you, I started getting inspiration and going
you
through,
did.
because we kind of get some. It's almost like a vacuum, and then you just have to reach out and get something to get us moving again. So.
Yeah,
Well, Regan, it's 5 o'clock and you have a tea time at 5:15, and I don't
yeah.
want you to be late.
I don't want to be late either. I'll play right till dark. I probably won't get in 18 holes, but and then I start. I'll get to my other my other place where I see people, and I always have the hardest time with the darn Chatsworth, California. Have a beautiful place there to see people, and then I'll just get prepared, and I'm going to ask my guides to help me to keep focused and to allow to feel not just my energy but the energy of all, to be open to that.
Yeah,
And
from the beginning, not when you run yours down, but from the beginning.
from the beginning, yeah. Then we're
I
going to
do it
get
at
the
the beginning
team.
of every day. Please
I'll
help
do
me
that.
out today.
All right, I'll get the team together and we'll be all ready to go. So and you ask me how it worked when I talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay,
So I'm,
Regan, how
I'm
do
looking
people get a
forward to
hold
it.
of you? How do
Yeah,
people
one
get a
of the
hold?
two of the clients, they have a podcast where they've interviewed Neil Diamond Walsh, and they've interviewed the Dr. Eben, who had that near-death experience,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'd heard about they'd heard about what I do, and they contacted me. But what they sense, and it's synchronicity. I'm driving down. They call about that, and they're in LA area. So I'm going to give her a session and her husband a session, both with 3 days of each other, so that when we do the podcast, we can talk about her experience and my experience and the
Oh,
experience of others. So the actual podcast person will have gone through a life between life process. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
that is going to be cool.
Yeah. Okie doke. Well, I will. I'm glad you're doing better, Natasha. And
Thank you. Me too. Me too. May this continue going up the hill. How do people get a hold of you, Regan? Visit the
oh,
afterlife?
visit theafterlife.com. There's lots of videos on there to explain this life between life process. If you request both 3 books, I'll send 2 of my latest books on there, that ebooks that I can send you about this process, to give you an idea, an overview of what happens in a life between life process. So feel free to go to the contact page and ask for copies of both books if you like, or just one or the other. Happy to help you there. So we will see you next week. And Natasha at angeliclarifications.com, right?
Yep, that's me, Natasha. And please come and watch us again. We're here every Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. And then on Wednesday, I will be here on the same channel, same place for Life Clarifications with Natasha. Do not know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I
Okay.
will I will get there by then. So blessings to you all.
All right.
Thank you for being here. Have fun, Regan.
Okay.
And
See you later now. Bye.
okay, bye. Have fun, guys. Blessings. Thank you all for watching. I'm so grateful for you.